All right, we're gonna start with the bottom of our foot, or the plantar fascia. So there's probably 5 or 6 different points that are commonly found in the foot that we can call either trigger points or fascial adhesions. So again, when we find these points, what we're gonna do is first seek around to identify the location. Then we're going to sink in until we feel that good hurt sensation, and then we're going to create tension by spreading and lifting our toes. So we'll start with the ball on the ground. Now you can do this seated, you can do it standing, it doesn't really matter, just whatever feels most comfortable. You can definitely get more pressure if you're standing while doing this. So I'm just going to scan around first, find my points. I found one on the outer side by my pinky toe there. I found another into my heel area, and there's one kind of by my big toe. So between those 3, I'd say the most significant is the one right under my big toe here. So I'm going to sink my weight into the ball and kind of angle my foot so that my foot's driving downward towards the floor, and then when I lift my toes, it's going to create that shearing force, and it should start to feel kind of burning sensation. Now again, that pain scale we want to be at is about a 5, maybe 6 on a pain scale of 0 to 10. And once we find it, we're just going to breathe. We're going to hang out here for 1 to 2 minutes. Now what you'll notice is as the tissue starts to soften, that 5 or 6 on a pain scale will start to dissipate, which is totally fine. So a successful treatment is usually where the pain scale is dropped about 50%. So that 5 or 6 goes down to about a 3, maybe a 2. As soon as the body softens up and releases in that point, you can go ahead and release, and we can go to the next point. So I'll find another one. That one was out by the pinky side of my foot. I'll sink in. I'm just going to rotate my foot out a little bit for this one. Again, I'm angling my foot about 45 degrees from horizontal down towards the ground. As I lift my toes, that creates that shearing force again. So we're pinning down the superficial tissue and then opening the internal tissue to separate those fascial layers. Again, we find it, we don't have to roll around a lot to mobilize the tissue, we just hold that shearing force and we breathe. This is a good time to think about that diaphragm breathing video. If you haven't checked that one out, this is a good one to work with the way to breathe, to bring in the most oxygen, to relax the system. Breathing deep into the belly. Again, we want that pain to dissipate. If it starts throbbing, pinching, you're probably on a nerve, on an artery, or just something like a bone spur, something like that. So you don't want to press. If it doesn't start to dissipate, shift your position a little bit, so that you're on something that's kind of aching, spreading, and then slowly releases. All right, we'll go one more point into the heel. I'm going to sink in here. And again, I'm going to lift my toes as I create that shearing force. If you lift your toes too much, it might tighten too much and pop you out of that fascial adhesion. So you got to kind of fine tune that just right amount of tension so the tissue doesn't tighten too much to push you out of the space, where you're just sinking in and just barely starting to create that sliding tension. It should feel kind of like a burning sensation. And breathing. Perfect. And then just shake it out a little bit. And again, you're going to want to do both feet. So again, scanning as much as we can, find those points, sink in, open, and we're breathing. There is good things on the other side of that discomfort. You just got to kind of wait it out, let the body sink and relax into it. The most important thing with this type of work is frequency and consistency of care. So rather doing, we're going to switch spots, rather doing 10 minutes on one spot, it's better to do 10 sessions of 1 minute. So less duration, more frequency, you're going to get better results. All right. gonna sink in on this one. This is kind of in the middle of my foot there, right in the arch. Again, I'm lifting my toes and spreading. You'll feel that increase. Just don't go too much so it doesn't push you out. Breathe in. Perfect. Okay. Now if you find more points, that seems to be about all the ones I have on this foot. I had more on the right side. And it's totally normal to have more points on one side versus the other. Just find them. If you want to consolidate this, just focus on the most tender point that you can find and stick there. Here we go. We got this. Keep up the good work. Let me know if you have any questions on this.